Yeah.
Connectivity issues and all, for which we do apologize. We begin again. And we take note, and do make note, that when the Prime Minister speaks, it is of note.
But there are times it could be unnoticed.
Take his recent interview with Bloomberg News.
Is there something that we missed?
Maybe, maybe not. But there are remarks worth repeating and discussed.
It's what we do here. Chat with chat.
Well then, let we chat.
Hello, I'm Stratton Palmer.
And I'm Curtis Myrie.
Well, we want to welcome you back to, this time, the real chat.
The Prime Minister reportedly remarked in a recent interview with Bloomberg News that big countries were more hoarding than prudently stocking up on COVID-19 vaccines, and that a consummate spread across the world would instead ensure a certain vaccine threshold to defeat the virus. Serious chat.
Serious chat.
We have here with us Dr. Winston Dawes, host of the weekly program Doctor's Orders on RJR's 94 FM. This is certainly on the Doctor's Orders. And he's the CEO of Mahogany Health and Fitness. Dr. Dawes, welcome to the program once again.
Thank you, sir. Well, it's a pleasure. And hi, Stratton.
Thanks for joining us, Doc.
Is the word hoarding too strong a word?
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, let me put it this way.
Okay.
The big countries, the rich countries, have the capacity to buy the vaccine at a premium price without any real stress on their budget. And so you have Canada buying up enough that they could have multiples of their population being vaccinated. The thing is that even with the mass buying, they lack the capacity to do the vaccinations on a timely basis.
Yes, but some will contend that given population size, it is just merely being prudent. How can you say it's hoarding when there's so many people?
No. The thing is this, that you cannot, nobody is an island. We're all part of the bigger world.
Right.
And if you think that by vaccinating all of your population and leaving the poorer countries out, we've already seen where you have mutations in England, South Africa, Nigeria, they're now saying Brazil, that these can be re-imported into your country. The other thing is that so far, it may be that the vaccine works against these mutations, but it might not eventually, and eventually we'll have some that escape. For example, with influenza or the common cold, people can get these conditions more than once. So it is prudent to have everybody be immunized on a worldwide basis rather than trying to protect your population by itself.
Yeah.
And
So,
when you buy up more than you need, then it means that
Others are
people who
deprived.
do need it won't get it. And if you have a serious epidemic within any small country, then the economy might collapse, the society might collapse, and these people might invade you.
but I know Stratton is chomping at the bit. But I need to ask you this. Who decides it's more than what I need? Let me play devil's advocate in all this.
Well, the thing is this, that the unfortunate thing is that the World WHO has no real clout. It is made up of, member countries, and so they dictate what goes on. It's not that WHO can go in and override Canada or the US. And so this is the dilemma. But even within these countries, we've already found where in the US, the rich 1% or 0.1% are already jump in the queue. So that the poorer people within these countries are not being properly protected. You know, so
I've listened to what you have said so far, Doc, and the things that come to me is that the virus is still a case study. We don't quite know what will happen in the future in terms of the go around, and the term pandemic suggests that we are all in this thing together. So if you even isolate, there's a possibility, as you say, that it would come back around in a mutated form. And so we need to really take stock. But there is no regulating body, nobody which can speak to an equal distribution, if there can be any such thing.
No. You see, the WHO has no army that can go into the US and say, do this. It has to depend on good sense, which sadly has been lacking, certainly in that jurisdiction. White House got out of hand so badly. So, but you know, this is where leaders come together, look at the problem, and come with a sensible solution. If, for example, Jamaica can't get enough and we continue to have an outbreak and the tourism industry collapses, this has serious implications as far as the society is concerned, whether it be able to maintain, you know, some semblance of order.
And there's a global ripple effect. If one economy fails,
it clearly would have that ripple effect. And that is why, gentlemen, I'm heartened to hear Dr. Tufton now saying that beyond the COVAX facility that is being arranged for smaller countries like ourselves, we will now look at approved and authorized vaccines from a China, from a Cuba, to supplement what originally was ordered. But I want to ask you this, still going up the road. The Prime Minister says it would ensure a certain vaccine threshold. Clearly, it can't be a knowledge that he alone has. This has to be something that is being considered as well by members of the WHO, the World Health Organization, right? Because this is science. What, Dr. Dawes, could possibly be the consummate threshold, the consummate spread to ensure this vaccine's threshold? What is the desired threshold here to defeat the virus? What is he hinting at?
What I think, you know, we're looking at health workers, people who are interacting with the public, you know, and this could also include police, firemen, transport officers.
Right around the world.
Yes. And then we, you know, and as we roll it out, we can then start, you know, plus the elderly, who are most vulnerable. And then we can start looking at other people, you know, the younger people. I see where Indonesia has taken the opposite view. Once they have treated the health workers, they're going for the younger people who they say may bring it back into their parents' or grandparents' home. So each country will have to come with a policy depending on their circumstances.
Do I detect a kind of sacrifice here, Doc, that you're now safeguarding the younger people, and what is it, to hell with the elders?
Or is it perhaps the other way around?
No, in the case of Indonesia.
Yes, in Indonesia, yes.
In the case of Indonesia, about almost 50% of the workforce is informal. So they are out hustling, doing, you know, street selling, street side food, all these things. And so if you try to tell them to stay home, it's not going to work. And their rationale is that by preventing these youngsters from becoming infected, then they won't carry it home. That's the theory.
Okay.
In other countries, what we are looking at is the most vulnerable, those who are most likely to be infected, which will be health workers, other frontline people, the elderly, and people with comorbid disease. There are people who are diabetic, have rheumatoid arthritis, cancers, renal failure. So there's no one script which is perfect.
As you mentioned that, Doc, you have been a sportsman, you have been a leader of a national sporting body. We heard Roger Hunter coming out to say that we are shortchanging our athletes because the athletes are fitter people, and that is shown so far that those people tend to combat the COVID disease very, very well.
Yes, that is true, but the fact is that they are interacting with their family and the public transportation, and we've already seen in the Premier League in England where we've had a lot of postponed games. So it's something. In fact, a year ago we'd not been having this conversation. Right? COVID was some distant disease which wouldn't get here. It has overtaken the world. And so we're all groping for a consensus. I think it is something which the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Sport, of SDC, etc., with the sporting organizations should really sit down, look at the risks, look at the benefits, and try and come to a consensus. If we're going to bring back sports, then here are the conditions. Right?
Okay, back to the Prime Minister's point and this threshold that we seek, right? Given that he is hitting the mark here, what it means, it clearly means, Stratton, that we will have to be more vigilant. We have to make a better collaborative effort in what we share here in the Caribbean, in what we share across the world, as smaller countries.
And allied to that, Doc, if these people are acting in their own best self-interest, can they still have sanctioning against us looking to places like Cuba, etc., to get...
No.
That is out the window. Yes.
No, those nutcases leave in 4 days.